Greg Kirsting writes, horns up on the unions that I'm a local 115 Painters Union, St. Louis, Missouri. Can't wait to see Exodus back here. Haven't missed you yet. Also, do you remember playing at Mississippi Nights?
Of course. Do you remember?
I remember.
Walter,
Yeah.
we barely made it. That was when he wrecked the van. If you've seen that story, we were on our way to Mississippi Nights, so we barely made it. That was great.
And that's a cool venue. It's right on the river right there, right?
Yeah, I think it's closed now, though. I don't think it's open anymore.
But, man, so many iconic places.
I know.
And that's what's cool about going on tour. You see
and the St. Louis Arch is right there.
Play their shows.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember walking
I
to
do
that.
remember them, miss. I do. And Exodus will be back, bro.
And Philly's a great town. You get the good cheese steaks.
St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Some great barbecue in St. Louis. Your ribs. Yes.
All right. Brad Uprising. Shit, yes. Thank you for recognizing another underrated band. And this is from Scott from Mordred. What do you got to say about
They're
Mordred?
a Bay Area piece for all of us that are musicians. There's some bands that got more attention than others. They got a good buzz, but I don't think as hard as everybody else did. Basically,
But they were
initial
doing
ones.
their own thing, which
And they
is totally
did do it. They were
different.
the first ones to do it, and I thought it was great. And I honored to sing on their record that they had just recorded, and I had a lot of fun with them. And I've got to get some more. I got to get Bill on. I got to get the other guys on too, man.
All right. And another one from Metal Dams. This is a good question. Steve, I can't speak for others, but I am way more metal than punk. I would like to hear you do a punk episode so I can gain more knowledge of your perspective and your influence.
I did have one. I did review the old Firm Casuals Holger Dance record, and I did have Waddy in. I love punk. Anything we could do, talk about it. There's nothing really new, that and then I'd have to get guests in here as well. But I mean, sure, you want to talk Sex Pistols or
maybe
or
we could
Clash
do what your favorite
Dead
albums.
Kennedys,
That
we
really,
could, maybe
that's
we will.
a good
Maybe
idea.
we'll do a top 10 of my favorite punk records, and that would be great. So there you go. There's an episode right there for you, Wayne.
N Night. Killer interviews. Looking forward to new Mordred. Were the hockey pucks hash or something else? Do you remember talking about the hockey pucks and the Scots?
No, I don't. Come on.
I think it was a big slab of hash.
It could have been. Oh, yes. Yes. There was hash. Yes.
All right. And
we're big fans.
Minotaur Official. I have a bootleg of Death playing as a 3-piece at Iguanas on the Spiritual Healing Tour. Looks like a cool place, and the sound was surprisingly good for a club in Tijuana. And I brought that up because you played the Iguanas, and I've been there more than a few times.
Couple times.
What do you got to say about it?
It was right over the border. It was actually done really cool, very 80s-ish. It was all it was made out of cyclone fence, rebar, and concrete, so you couldn't bash the walls in. I mean, this was made for punk and metal, totally. Right. And there was a stairway that went up, and it was a cool place to play.
Multi-level,
yeah.
And if I had to compare it to anything, I'd think it's like Mad Max.
I would say Thunderdome. It was Thunderdome. It did look like Thunderdome. And it was cool. We played there a couple of times. We played there on Fabulous Test Tour, and then we played on a New Year's Eve from 90 to 91 on Impact is Imminent. Exodus played there.
And the fans are crazy because you have those satanic Hispanics there.
Satanico, Hispanicos, we love you.
And, you're drinking tequila, and that leads to trouble. Anyway, now we got off of Danny Shipman's episode. Eric Schwartz. Danny Shipman's story sounds like a G.G. Allen story back in the day.
Danny Shipman is about 3 degrees from G.G. Allen, basically. Not too far. I don't know, but when I watched that episode, did you see the look on my face? So that's if that says anything for you.
Oh, wait a minute. We can talk about that because Mike and Sherry Price said the look on Zet's face when Danny's describing his S&M interviews, priceless.
Yeah, sometimes I'm not sure that I don't know what anybody's going to say at any point. It's all
you let them go.
We just let them go, and it was yes. Well, yes.
All right. And now we go to Mike Ronchetti's interview, and he's the first original drummer
Yes,
to
Ronchetti,
Legacy.
yep.
Ronchetti.
Rottweiler.
Okay. And MJ7771. Wouldn't it be great to release the famous Legacy demo on vinyl? I know it's on YouTube, but it's a limited collector's item like the No Love 7-inch from Exodus would be cool.
Yes, it would be. I would have to definitely, because I still own publishing of it, and so do they. We would have to talk about doing that on vinyl, but I don't know.
Well, vinyl's so huge nowadays.
Yeah,
right?
it's good. I'm glad it's coming back because it was the way meant for music to be played, as far as I'm concerned.
All right. And from the
When Born We
Midsummer
Were.
movie review, Doug's Metal Movie Jukebox says, when's the last time you saw something good enough to write as an Exodus song about it? And maybe you got some ideas to share because you got to write another album soon, right?
Well, so far nothing this summer. So, I mean, I'm not going to write a movie about Pennywise, so let the band.
Does it
Punk Band
happen
Pennywise
for
do
you?
it.
Is like when you get closer to that time,
If it's cool,
then you.
I don't know. It's what's ever intriguing me at the point. A lot of the times, I listen to the aggression or the feel of the music, and that's where the subject comes from, and then I'll pick a topic from the subject. You know what I mean?
Every singer does it differently, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, Chuck and I do it similar. You know what I mean? So I listen for the melody
I'd
first.
love for you guys, I don't know if you do this, but I've watched Chuck do songs. When he just hears the music and hasn't written anything, he kind of knows what the chorus and
Vocal line. It's a vocal
and
line,
he'll just say words that make no
That's
sense
exactly
and
what
mumble.
I do. Stay in the symbol. Syllable. Stay in the syllable. Stay in the syllable.
So if you guys saw that, you can imagine a song like that came off Formation of Damnation, and he's mumbling, and you can't even understand what the words are, but that's how he writes it. And then he'll get the words and throw it into that cadence and syllables right. Anyway, very cool. Dr. Phoebes in Red, I'm sure Zetro was at some Swedish festivals with Exodus, but I don't think he went to a festival like that, saying about the...
No, I played Sweden rock many times, but there was no shit going on. I mean, check it out. Honestly, and I said this during the review, nobody's coming up on me. You know what I mean? The minute the motherfuckers jumped off that hill, I'm like, all right, check it out. I'm out of here.
With the backpack
and I got a bat or a fucking gun in my hand, and I'm walking out of here. If I even hear a leaf 10 feet from me, I'm unloading on some motherfucker straight up with all you little hippie asses. So,
also, I brought this up because of Sweden Rocks is one of the biggest.
Yes,
a lot of
definitely.
people here don't realize that, but that's I've seen some huge bands. It's one of the
God,
biggest.
Queen,
right?
come on, everybody like that.
Cool. And now from the Mark Biederman of Blind Illusions episode, Matt Hanchuk. The newest EP with Doug Piercy is phenomenal. Great technical stuff. Looking forward to a full length. And Mike for Metal wrote, Wildman Biederman, definitely an original.
Yes and yes on both of those. Actually, he is very talented, and so is Doug Piercy. So to put those two together, it's just like absolute, technical ecstasy, basically, when it comes to music. And
it's not your run of the normal. It has a signature sound.
Yes, Mark Biederman's a wild one. I was explaining it to my producer like it was kind of a fish going in and under the boat and back out again. But it made for a fun episode, did it not? Exactly.
And I just saw Doug like a week ago, and I talked to him for half an hour when I got to this party. And we had so much to talk about, but he's doing pre-production or getting everything set up for doing that. So he's definitely going to have some new material. But Doug and Mark, great. And George Peterson wanted to know, good Lord, what is this dude on? I thought I'd throw that in there. And Flash
said he was
Berry,
clean since Christmas.
I think it's a natural high nowadays. Steve.
I'm just telling you what I was told.
Flasberry. This is fascinating stuff. What an amazing interview. And Matt Hanchuk again says, such an underrated talent. Mark is genius songwriter and kung fu wizard, a pioneer
Wizard.
in every
Don't fuck with
sense of the
that
word.
dude. Yes, definitely. I agree. Mark's one of those guys, when he gets into something, he follows the intricacies of it and learns them in and out. I've noticed.
Vinny Rogers, have you guys ever heard of the films Cannibal Holocaust or Necromaniac? I've heard of Cannibal Holocaust. It's a zombie thing, and it's pretty raw. I haven't seen it. I have it actually on DVD. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard of it. It's like a cult zombie thing. We'll have to check that out, huh? If you haven't
There's
seen
so
it.
many of those. There really, really is. And there's really good stuff. There's a lot of great independent directors that are nailing horror now. They really are.
And we have a third of our life to watch a lot of them.
Yeah, we have.
All right. And Michael Haggard wants to know, where's the original The Thing? What could be scarier than being alone on the pole with a bloodthirsty alien monster? Good call on Phantasm. One of my favorites, too. Cheesy, but scary as hell.
Exactly. Cheesy, but scary as hell. I'm sorry I was scared just watching the tall man walk down the hallway. I mean, to me, if you were in that situation, I'd be fucking shitting my pants. Definitely. It was one of my favorite. And The Thing,
The original.
I know what you're talking about. Kurt
Black and
Russell,
white.
yeah. It's
No, the one, there's a black and white one, like
that
54.
one's great too. Oh,
Yeah.
that one's great too. Any of those movies are awesome. They're just the premise of it is great.
And here we go. Paul, before watching this top 10 list, my number one horror flick would be The Shining. This movie seems realistic with the plot and Jack Nicholson.
It's definitely a horror flick. If you noticed, most of mine were monster movies. You know what I mean? There was a monster in the premise of them. You know what I mean? Most of them.
This
There
was
an
eerily,
object, you know what I mean?
psychotically.
But just irritated.
horror
There was a
or
lot
whatever.
of psychological shit
Yeah.
going on with The Shining that were very horrific and then very scary story. But if you notice, I'm Dracula, Frankenstein, The Exorcist. You know, those are all monsters. You know, so
We got the early
creatures
horror.
that have very distorted faces or fangs or something, but still in a human type form. You know what I mean? So to me, that's horrific.
We got the old horror, the black and white classics in that period.
To me,
but
that's
I was
what
talking
makes
to
it all.
Wayne about horror movies, and I was trying to say, hey, and he said, the '70s was a very raw and real period for horror flicks. A lot of really good ones came out, and they didn't have all the special effects back then, but they still stand a lot of good ones then. Anyway, Metal Madness 66 asks, Zetro and Walt, have you ever seen, and I'm betting you have, the 1934 Lugosi Karloff classic movie, The Black Cat? You've got to
Of
check
course.
that one out.
I
The
have.
movie is creepy as hell and shows some seriously dark topics for the first time in which it was made. Satanism, occultism, sadism, necromancy,
Yes.
torture.
Yes, it is. I love that movie. I love The Black Cat. And you know that Kirk Hammett owns the original suit from The Black Cat.
That's cool.
Wild, huh?
All right. And Buckeyes, Bengals, Reds. Not a movie, but if you guys have ever seen The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, you should give it a shot. Really good stuff. And I actually started to watch that, and I have put it on hold. I watched the first episode to see what it's about, and it looks like it's going to be good because a lot of people are talking about that too.
The Haunting on Hill House?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll check it out.
All right. And he also said Halloween, the original, has to be in my top 5, just like Jaws. The soundtrack,
Very scary, yeah.
The soundtrack makes it great.
I agree. Exorcist as well.
All right. And Anthony Rivers also says, have you seen The Strangers?
Yes,
I own
yes,
that,
of
and
course.
I haven't seen that yet, but I have.
Yes,
it.
I've seen The Strangers, of course.
All right, moving on to
That's creepy.
Hatred from Days Under Darkness. Our review of it, we got Jason Piper. In fact, I'm wearing the shirt and the hat, matching outfit today. But this album,
He
from
always
start to
matches.
finish, is so damn good. I've been blasting it damn every day. Everything you and Walt said in episode is spot on. Fans are going to love this album without question. Can't wait to celebrate it on release day with the boys at the Knot Fest.
Yeah, well, that's already happened, and it was hella fun. And the album is amazing. If you have not heard my son's Hatred From Days into
I think
Darkness.
it's one of the best albums of the year.
Fucking A. Damn right it is.
Okay. Well, we agree on that. Anyway, Metal Dams also. Zetro, you talk about getting lyrical inspirations from what you know. Am I correct to assume the title, if not the subject matter, of Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed is inspired by the Hammer film with the same name?
No, Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed is a metaphor. What it is that the song is about murderers or rapists or killers that are on death row and they never get put to kill. They never get put to death. You know, to me, that's just a travesty. Why are we keeping these losing pieces of shit alive?
So you're for capital punishment.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
They killed.
Me too.
They killed heinously, and they should die heinously. I would think maybe being in jail would be terrible, but just think of somebody walking you into a room, and in 10 minutes they're gonna put your ass to sleep, and you ain't never gonna fucking wake up. To me, that's better. Plus, you're not feeding them and housing them. They're not wiping their ass with toilet paper that the government is paying for. I don't care how fucking, So that's what that song is about. And basically, Frankenstein is the condemned prisoner, and they must be destroyed. So it's basically a metaphor.
Danny Barrowman says, can't wait till they come to Sacramento. Costa's guitar playing is ruling the thrash throne as of now. Yes, move over, Father Holt.
Yeah.
We always say I can compare him to Gary Holt because
well, you got to remember, there's always going to check it out. There's always going to be the next new guy. You know what I mean? And Costa's, half Gary's age, so
influenced by him
definitely.
Totally.
Oh my God, just listen to his playing.
You can hear it. All right, and Matt Hanchuk Asker says, Hatred is a fantastic band with great riffs and stellar production by the uber-talented Juan Urtiaga. Papa Zetro must be proud.
Of course I am, to see them do what I do after and be good at it. How many, people in bands have kids that are, have created their own sound and gone their own way and done that. There's a few, but not too many.
Well, it's funny you said that because I just saw Iron Maiden last couple days ago, and Steve Harris's son band was the opening act. So I'm sure he gets
had
that
Lauren Harris a couple of
right?
years ago, but with all due respect to Steve Harris's band, who the fuck are they? Hatred stands on their own all over the world. I just came back from South America, and people are screaming for Hatred. What was Steve Harris's band's name again?
Well, the name of the band's Raven's Age, but it's a metalcore band.
Right, so Raven's Age. Exactly. Good luck to you guys, but I'm sure that Patriot's a little bit more.
If you were an Iron Maiden, you'd have Hatred open for you, right?
We've had them open for Exodus. You got to respect that,
right?
We've had them open for Exodus.
Okay, well, hopefully they get a tour. All right, Ward Q says, back in 2005, I was visiting my nephew in California. This is Ward Quayle.
I know who it was.
You went to the same high school, or if not in the same year. I had just been to an Exodus show in Virginia. I had a stack of photos from the show and gave some to my nephew, who he said had a high school friend who was a big metalhead, and he'd give him some. Turns out it was Costa.
I knew that. I know this story. Yep, that's right.
A good story.
That's a true story.
Juan Rogers, Costa does things Gary is too afraid to do musically.
I don't agree with that. I just feel
either.
it's too. Costa's more of a shredder, really shredder. I mean, he's honed his craft on being that fast. So you can't take anything away. Look how he writes.
All right, Ultra Nemesis from Days Under Darkness is just amazing. The guitar playing by Costa, spectacular. Top album of 2019 for sure. I'll go on. Anthony Rivers, the new song, Ethereal Nightmare guitar solo sounds Pleasures of the Flesh era. And I think he tries to write in that vein too, right?
I agree with that.
Okay, now we go to Cody Souza and Shannon Riddle Herbert. That was great. Y'all cracking me up talking about your mom screaming your name. Funny memories is always the best. Cody does sound like his dad, but has his own thing. Sounds so fucking good. Y'all need to come play the South.
Well, what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to actually get the kids in here. I was talking to this about Nicholas the other night, and we're going to have a Sousa round table with all my kids, and we're going to talk about what it was like growing up Zetro. So
All right. And Ward Quayle also says, I remember the Maryland scream.
he knew it. I think she even screamed at him.
And talking about the South, you're going to Atlanta playing with
I'm playing
Exodus,
Atlanta,
so here
so
you are.
there you go.
He's going to the South. Anyway, Thrasher 2091. Metal is just in the blood of the Sousa family. Got nothing but good things to say about Zetro and all his kids. They're all great people. I still remember going to see my girlfriend Dahlia and hanging out with Maddie all the time when we were together. And Maddie's your daughter.
Yep.
Mark Jaramillo. Oh my God, Zet, talk about those family genetics. I'm listening to Cody and all I see and hear is you. The facial expressions, the eyes, even the way he adjusts his cap. Damn, man, it's eerie. And Metal Jam says, Zetro, I just want to see you do toxic trivia with your kids.
I'd kick their ass. They don't have the knowledge.
Maybe
I
it's
mean.
all three of them
come
can
on, you
answer
got to remember
against you.
You got to remember the
time period
The
thing.
apple doesn't fall too far from the tree on the musical thing. So,
all right, Chaos B9931. Cody has a great bass tone in everything I've heard, studio or live.
yeah, no, he had to learn to become a vocalist. He was actually a great bass player, so now he's become full circle both.
He's like Tom Araya,
Yes.
Bobby Simpson.
I think he's a little bit better bass player than Tom, with all due respect to Tom.
Wow, that's impressive. And Bobby Simpson, who was the other guitar player with Costa at the Ace of Spades show with Testament last September? Hope to see you live somewhere soon.
I wasn't there. I think that might have been a kid named Justin, and he just didn't have the drive, and so that's why they picked the new kid. The new kid, Kevin.
I think he
has
was
the drive.
an Asian kid, kind of.
No, that was before. That was before.
It was before. Okay. All right, that wraps up this segment of your comments.
Yep. Well, if you guys have a comment, which you always do, leave me all your comments on your comments. And obviously after every episode.
You see the questions that we picked. They kind of like give something for Zetro to feedback on, and good questions.
Believe me, I appreciate all the thank yous and the loves of the keep those coming.
There's a lot of those.
We read those, and
yeah.
we do, and that's what inspires us to do this and to keep doing this. So keep that coming, but we'll be, subscribe to this and
we'll
share
be reading.
this, and we'll be reading, and we'll be back real soon, won't we?